Hi everybody, hope you all are doing well this new year. This is my first video of the new year, so very exciting. But today I wanted to go through some 5-star predictions that I have, things I'm hoping to read this year, hopefully sooner rather than later, but who knows, I'm always inspired to read something different, so we'll see. But these are some books that I think I'm going to really love. So firstly, I don't have the sequel to this yet. It should be coming probably tomorrow in the mail, but this is Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and the short stories that kind of go with this I'm getting in the mail tomorrow. And I gave this 5 stars, and I don't think it's going to be any worse. I hope not anyway. So I'm expecting that the sequel to this is going to be a 5-star for me. I really hope so, because this book was so wonderful. I've talked about it a lot, so I don't need to go into it, but so wonderful, and I really hope that the sequel does not disappoint, because I will be so sad if it does. Alright, then I have a short story collection. This is Homesick for Another World by Ottessa Moshfegh, and I am currently obsessed with Ottessa Moshfegh. I have been growing a little collection of her books, and I'm currently reading Death in Her Hands. And I finished Eileen a couple of weeks ago, so I anticipate that I will love this short story collection. Obviously, I love short stories. I love reading collections, and this author is one of my favorites right now. So I'm hoping that this will be a 5-star. I think it will be. Never know. We'll see, because sometimes short story collections are, you know, you like 50% and you hate 50%, or you like 75% and you hate 25%. We'll see, but I have a good feeling about it. Next, I have Transcendent Kingdom by Yaa Gyasi, and I read Homegoing by her, I think it was last fall. I read it for a class, and I was completely blown away by it. It was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So, I am anticipating that this book will be really good. This one is about a scientist she's in her PhD, and she's kind of trying to come to terms with kind of combining her science and her faith and where to find a happy medium. And I am very fascinated by books about faith and reconciling your faith with other aspects of your life that don't necessarily communicate well with them. So this sounds really fascinating. I love the cover, and I think this will be a 5-star, especially because I really love her writing style. Then I have Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. And this I have a good feeling about, because it's been recommended so many times and so highly by so many people. It's been recommended specifically on the Books Unbound podcast, where Ariel and Raylene both say that they enjoyed this / were really fascinated by it. And the thing is, a lot of people, I feel like, if they don't love a book, they don't give it 5 stars. But I kind of tend to be the person who, if I feel completely overwhelmed by a book, like it was just so out there or strange, that I just feel like being drawn to it in some way. Like that happened with Hysteria by Jessica Gross. That happened with I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. I closed those and they were immediately 5 stars. And obviously I liked them, I really loved them, but it was more because they had such an impact on me. They were so odd and out there that they really felt, you know, like they made some kind of really big impact on me and my life. So this is the book that people, especially Ariel and Raylene over at Books Unbound, have said is very odd and interesting, very interesting, but not necessarily a book that they feel like they love. So just knowing me and the way that I rate books, I think that this will be a 5-star if it is so interesting as everyone says it is, just because the concepts in it and the ideas of it will completely overwhelm me and will cause me to have a high rating for it, if that makes any sense at all. That's kind of my methodology for rating and kind of how I suspect this will get on the 5 stars, but we will see. Speaking of Ian Reid, I have Foe on here, and obviously I'm Thinking of Ending Things was just a terrific book. It was probably my favorite book of 2020, and I am so excited to read Foe. For some reason, I bought it and then didn't start it immediately because I guess I believe that was in the height of like my midterms and all of that craziness when I read I'm Thinking of Ending Things. So I just didn't get a chance to pick it up immediately and then started on other things. But I am pretty sure this is going to be a 5-star read. If it's anything as good as I'm Thinking of Ending Things, it will be a 5-star for me. So hoping that this does not disappoint. I have very high hopes and expectations for this one. Especially because this one is the second novel. So what I'm thinking is it can only improve, right? How can it improve beyond I'm Thinking of Ending Things, right? But I'm hoping that it will because it is his second novel, and hopefully you can see the growth of him as a writer. So anyway, then I have Die, My Love by Ariana Horowitz. And this is a book that I totally randomly picked up at a bookshop the same time I got Hysteria by Jessica Gross. And the cover fascinated me. I think it's a really, really cool minimalistic cover. And then I read the synopsis, and it was also just amazing, sounded amazing. It's a translated work, and I believe the author's from Argentina. So this is apparently about a mother, and that's all I remember about it. It's about a mother and the odd kind of inner psychological workings of her. So this just sounds like something that would be right up my alley. It sounds very similar to The Shame, Hysteria, those kind of books that I've been really, really enjoying. So I think I'm going to give this 5 stars if it's anything like that kind of theme I've been really loving. But I'm interested to see if the translation does the language justice, if it's a good translation or not, because I feel like sometimes with translation it can either be it can kind of create a very interesting dynamic in the writing style, or it can kind of fall flat and kind of leave you a little bit lacking some of the imagery or the floweriness of the language. So we'll see about this one, but I think I'm going to really like it. All right, then is a book that I purchased just today, actually. It is The Need by Helen Phillips, and this is kind of continuing on the trend of the like female protagonist, main character, who goes through some kind of trauma, or it's like psychological in some way. And this is about a woman who finds or she sees an intruder in her home when she's with her children, and you kind of have to work through whether or not it's real or whether or not it's all in her head. And the cover is just like amazing, beautiful cover. But it just sounded so interesting and right up my alley. And I think it's going to be, if it's anything like what the synopsis says, I think it's going to be really, really interesting and really, really cool. So I'm hoping I really love this. I'm going to be so disappointed if none of these are 5 stars, honestly, or only like 1 or 2 are 5 stars. I'm going to be so disappointed. We'll find out. Okay, second to last one is actually a poetry collection. It is Dearly New Poems by Margaret Atwood, and it's an odd kind of thing to say that you think a poetry collection will be 5 stars and a short story collection, because you don't really know if you're going to love every single one, and it's hard to give a collection 5 stars if you don't love every single piece in it. But I absolutely love Margaret Atwood's poetry. My favorite poet is still probably Mary Oliver, but Margaret Atwood is a close second. And honestly, I haven't read any of Margaret Atwood's actual novels, which is kind of funny, but I've read so much of her poetry, and it is so intriguing every single time I read it. I am fascinated by it. I think she's amazing at using words and playing with words and playing with language, and clearly because she's, you know, a huge bestseller, but I think the way that she does it in poetry is especially fascinating. So I think this is going to be a 5 star, and also gorgeous cover. The gorgeous covers really do help with my 5-star predictions, because if it's a beautiful cover, I'm already feeling the atmosphere of the book. You know, I'm feeling the book. So that does help. But the last one, not the best cover, but I think it'll be a 5 star as well. And this is Half Broke Horses by Jeanette Walls. So this is kind of, it's not really a sequel necessarily, but it is a book kind of based on Jeanette Walls' life, and it is kind of like the pairing to The Glass Castle, which I gave 5 stars. So I'm really excited to read this and learn more about her life. And yeah, I think I'm going to give this 5 stars because I give The Glass Castle 5 stars. It's one of my favorite books. So those are all of the books that I really hope are 5 stars, that I think will be. And if not 5 stars, probably 4 stars or 4.5, things that I'm going to really, really enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.